Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Friday's edition of Alaska Weather. I'm Dave Percy. On the warning chart for tonight and actually through tomorrow night into Sunday morning, the storm coming into the west, we got winter storm warnings out St. Lawrence Island, which didn't get the red mark here up into the Bering Strait, and then also here eastern Norton Bay on down toward Stebbins, and then winter weather advisory for the Yukon Delta and lower River Valley area. We've got winter storm warnings out. These mostly on the north end there as you go up toward the Brooks Range. That's where the heaviest snow will fall. And these warnings, as the storm pushes eastward later tonight, actually tomorrow, and into Sunday, these warnings will probably progress eastward here into the watch areas over the upper Yukon Valley and the southern slopes of the eastern Brooks Range, where a lot more snow will likely fall, especially here in the west and then along the southern slopes of the mountains there. Through the weekend, maybe 8 to 18 inches at the heaviest. Otherwise, you got winter weather advisory up there for the central Arctic coast for snow and blowing snow. That is going on up there. Nothing south of the mountains. Moving on to the satellite imagery, we had this rather weak and weakening frontal boundary coming through, or trough, pushing eastward here. That's what brought the areas of very light rain as far south as, we'll call it Fognak Island, into the southern Kenai Peninsula, Cook Inlet. Got a mixed condition going today here across south central Alaska, Manouscus-Susitna Valley, especially there. It's mostly in the form of snow on up to the northeast. And breaking out here, Cordova, a few clouds there around Yakutat, northern Panhandle, basically dry conditions there today. And up to the north, a lot of cloudiness up there with areas of light snow. And then back to the west, the next storm, the front here, edging, just passing Shimya late this afternoon. So the rain, strong winds gusting 60 to 70 miles an hour with the storm warnings out there, starting to come down now this afternoon. And that beginning to edge its way eastward toward the Adak area and also northward there. We've got some high clouds spreading over the Pribilof Islands at 2 o'clock this afternoon. And again, up to the north, moisture here with an old system pushing in across St. Lawrence Island and up into the northwest interior there. And another band there right along the Arctic coast, breaking out over Bristol Bay. Looked pretty good for the Alaska Peninsula, at least on this imagery, all the way back to Unalaska and Nikolsky. And moving that through again, you can see this system here, not very strong at all. It'll continue eastward and weaken, and then watching maybe some moisture here develop along off the coast there that may or may not reach the Panhandle. But what's going on there today associated with a really weak warm front moving across the Panhandle today with virtually no precipitation, but there is a little bit of stuff here along the North Gulf Coast area, which didn't actually show up in the observation at Yakutat there, but the radar kind of hinted at it. And then a narrow band of, again, very light precipitation from roughly the Kodiak Island area, mixing with freezing rain or snow, or a combination of all three here. South central Alaska, Susitna Valley, that mostly in the form of snow. On up to the northeast, not a lot between this system and the trough back to the northwest there. Really nothing in the way of any shower activity, just some clouds here over Bristol Bay and also a lot of clearing out there as well, all the way down to the eastern Aleutians and Alaska Peninsula. And the southwest winds here pulling moisture, surges of moisture with some snow there. Norton Sound, the Seward Peninsula, also from the northwest interior, pretty light and scattered here as you head east, and then that on up to the Arctic coast today. And winds increasing over the central Aleutians, but the precipitation still holding back to the west. It was really hitting the western Aleutians from Manchitka out to Shemya there, with the front gradually moving eastward. We'll see tonight that low tracks due north right up to the Russian coast there, and the front coming eastward slowly weakens and losing the storm force winds. But there will be some gales tonight, especially for AKwx in that area. Wind increases for the Pribilofs as well, southwest picking on up, and chance of rain mostly after midnight. And with that southerly flow, another push of warm temperatures with mixed rain and snow eventually reaching the St. Lawrence Island area. Timing's a little iffy, but best chance of seeing that on toward morning. Of course, that would kill any blowing snow that's going on there, but still snowy there for the Bering Strait, western Alaska Peninsula, maybe the Nome area. Snow showers, mostly cloudy skies, westerly flow into the interior through this surface ridge here. Mostly along the Alaska Range into the Kuskokwim Valley, scattered areas of light snow, flurries or showers here for the Tanana Upper Yukon Valley. A more continuous swath right through here with a trough up across the northwest coast, and then that snow area shifting, or mostly concentrated from the central Arctic coast there onto the east toward Mackenzie River Delta. Could see some clearing on the west side. Otherwise, the system pushes eastward here. Low pressure now developing off the southeast coast, so that will push some moisture in tonight. Look for it to be in the form of rain showers south side, and then mixing through the central panhandle, and then mostly in the form of snow, especially with any elevation at all there for the areas Haines on up to Skagway, maybe Juneau, and drying out here for the North Gulf Coast. And winds starting to pick up a little bit here in the channeled areas, but nothing too strong, but should start to clear things out a little bit there. And that'll continue into Saturday, tomorrow, with high pressure right over the Copper River Basin at about 1,036 millibars, give or take. So it looks mostly sunny. Light winds along all of the North Gulf Coast, Prince William Sound, of course, where the high is over the Copper River Basin. There'll be a few clouds, some clouds on the increase here for south central Alaska as this front and that southwesterly flow begins to increase the moisture and push some stuff across the Kuskokwim Valley. So that'll be bearing down on the western Alaska Range tomorrow afternoon. So that's when the visibility ceilings will begin to drop there, especially on those western approaches, but light northwest winds for Kodiak. That'll keep it mostly clear. Same thing here for the Alaska Peninsula, not much going on, and that system dropping southward to, well, Dixon Entrance, so you're going to hang on to a chance of snow showers throughout much of the day over the southern panhandle there, but clearing out, becoming a little breezier, small craft advisories on the inside waters here, and definitely clearing skies, cool on the temperatures. Back to the west, a lot of snow and blowing snow with this front driving northeastward there into the northwest interior. Again, winter storm watches and warnings as well as some advisories all through this area, working their way eastward as the front pushes on. Tight gradient there on the Arctic coast. Gale force winds tomorrow, snow and blowing snow, lighter conditions off to the east, and just southwest flow. Not much really going on in the Bering Sea. We've got the front continuing to weaken and stuck out there over the western or the central Aleutian area, so not making much, if any, progress at all eastward. So occasional rain, but less wind for AKwx. And then for Sunday, the main front actually pushes across Sunday or Saturday night and during the day on Sunday and just breaks all up. We have a weak low that develops along the southern part of that frontal boundary here. Very weak warm front in across south central Alaska. So that really may kick off some light rain over the southern Kenai Peninsula. Looks warm enough for rain periods for the Bristol Bay area, mixing out as you go north, and another narrow band here, that front finally pulling far enough east to bring a possibility of some rain into the eastern Aleutians. Farther north, the low tracks up to near Cape Lisburne or just to the north, so quite windy conditions, snow blowing snow more up there along the Arctic coast and maybe the North Slope on Sunday than definitely what you see tomorrow. And still a swath of snow back here over the northwest, but drying out here to the east. Scattered flurries or snow showers over the central eastern interior. Dry for the Copper River Basin. Should be mostly dry here into south central Alaska. And now just that weak low hanging off the coast there. Even with that, it looks like it'll be far enough south that you could see some clearing. Definitely dry for Yakutat to Cordova. Area showers here develops, and that might slip on in towards Sitka during the afternoon. Otherwise, the southern panhandle looks mostly sunny, and then it's mostly cloudy on up to the north. Back out west, big high pressure area building into the Bering Sea out here, and that's actually finally what's nudging that front eastward here, as weak as it is. But that'll be kind of a change coming up first of next week, as in these disturbances passing by to the east, they'll start dropping southward again. Otherwise, temperatures across the southeast coast, 40 both at Klawock and over at Annette, 39 Sitka, 34 in the state capital, same thing at Yakutat, 37 Cordova, Valdez 29, 10 degrees colder at Gulkana, Northway 22, 34 for Fairbanks, and then down to 23 for Tanana, Talkeetna at 27, same thing recorded at Kenai with Palmer at 30, 39 down at Homer. Up in the Yukon Flats, Fort Yukon, 16 above, 18 above Anatuvik, Bettles at 21, Ambler 28 degrees, and Kotzebue had 21, but Kivalina just 9 above. Arctic coast running 0 to 10 below most of the areas there, but up to 4 at Point Hope, 6 at Teller, and 19 at Savunga. Here in the southwest, all in the 30s, from 38 at McGrath down to 33 at Bethel. Also over there at St. Mary's, they had 33, and Macoriac had 34. Pribilof's mid to upper 30s there, lower 40s here for the Alaska Peninsula with 43 actually from Kodiak, Sand Point and Cold Bay, 42 on Alaska, and a 41 degree reading there at Atka, then back down into the upper 30s. Lows for tonight, upper 30s, mid to upper 30s for the Aleutians, Bering Sea, and looks like upper 20s here for the southwest coast with mid to upper 20s northward. Right into the west central interior, or actually up into the Kobuk Valley, 20s, mid 20s for the lows tonight. Chillier, 0 to 10 above for the Copper River Basin, below 0 north slope in the Arctic coast. Highs for tomorrow, upper 30s to lower 40s for the Panhandle. Pretty mild here in the west with mid to upper 30s through much of the area. And then north of the mountains, colder, below 0 for the Arctic coast, and 30s to lower 40s again for the Alaska Peninsula. IFR tomorrow, right along the west side of the Alaska Range, back up to St. Lawrence Island, the northern Bering, and then with that front out here to the west, could be some IFR here, southern side of the Alaska Peninsula, eastern Aleutians, and also there over the northern southeast coast and the North Slope and Arctic coast, big area IFR. For tomorrow afternoon, breaks out all VFR here for south central Alaska until you get up in the valleys. Areas of IFR in the interior, especially along and south of the Brooks Range. That pattern again shifting eastward. More IFR here, southern coast of the Seward Peninsula, from the Kuskokwim Valley out to the southwest with that front right on top of Atka. For the passes, Anatuvik and Adigan, IFR to low IFR conditions. Again, lowest on the southern entrances of both. Lake Clark and Merrill starting out VFR, then gradually becoming marginal depending on how much moisture comes in from the west. And rainy, that same forecast. Again, probably staying VFR in all 3 eastern entrances, but becoming marginal west side. Windy, marginal VFR at times throughout the day. Isabel open, Mentasta VFR, Tanita VFR trending toward marginal. And for Portage, VFR. For the Chilkoot and White Passes, VFR again for tomorrow. And the freezing levels here, upper trough dropping southeastward here over western Canada. It's going to kind of keep the 2,000 foot line down back to the west here, and then at the surface coming southward into the northern Panhandle. Otherwise, right along the coast south, and then that push of southerly winds bringing 2,000 feet north of the Pribilofs and 4,000 feet plus for the central Aleutians. And along with that, along the front, occasional light to isolated widespread moderate turbulence here. Western interior tapering off down toward the coast, and maybe again back out toward the central Aleutians. Icing free Gulf of Alaska eastern interior, and some mixed icing possibly hanging on to the southern southeast coast most of the day. And for the winds aloft, the jet stream ridging here popping up into the interior with the main trough lifting northward to the Russian Far East. Strong southwest jet across the Bering Sea here. That's going to drive all that moisture right into the west coast, especially up here in the northwest areas, pushing eastward tomorrow afternoon, tomorrow night, and into Sunday. It'll be mostly through. For 9,000 feet, good. We've got, again, strong southwest winds at this level here. 40 to 50 knots right into the southwest interior, and pretty windy conditions right through the central interior there, 30 to 35 knots. South 35 there for the northwest, lighter on the eastern Arctic coast, and then northerlies maybe as high as 40 knots out of the due north there, right around the Elfin Cove area, then turning northwest off the coast. 3,000 feet looking like this. Southwest 30 to 35 in the interior, 45 knots on down to the Pribilofs, in toward Atka at about 40 knots there, diminishing here for the Bristol Bay area. Northwest 35, mostly east of the Barren Islands, and then those strong northerlies even at 3,000 feet up to 45 knots off the northern southeast coast. Lighter, more variable to the south. And with that turbulence, looks like occasional moderate chop here below 5,000 feet for the northern Panhandle, maybe over to Yakutat, definitely up to Skagway. And big area turbulence with those strong winds here, mostly of the moderate variety, eastern Aleutians, and all through the west coast, northern Bering Sea, right up to the west side of the Arctic coast. And after hangar flying, I'll be back to look at the marine forecasts.
Good afternoon. I'm Rocky Capozzi, and on behalf of the Alaska Public Media and the Alaskan Aviation Safety Foundation, welcome to Hangar Flying. This afternoon our guest is Drew Budig. He's a third-year aviation student at UAA, and he's a Medallion Foundation employee, and we'd like to talk to him a little bit today about what is new at the Medallion Foundation. And first, Drew, could you tell us what you do at the Medallion Foundation?
So at the Medallion Foundation, I'm a receptionist, I'm a tech support for the ATDs, and I'm also an FAA proctor. Okay.
So what's new at the Foundation? Do you have any new simulators?
Yeah, so exciting things are happening around the Foundation. We have a bunch of new simulators. We have the DCX Max, which we got back in July. We had an open house, people could come. We recently just got a CRX, which is basically an upgraded CR12. We also got some CR12s. They're just like a desktop model. You just can put them on a desktop. It has 4 screens plus an instructor screen. And then we're building 3 new helicopter sims.
I understand. So all those technical terms probably aren't going to be familiar to the audience, but what range of airplanes can you simulate with your equipage?
So the ATDs can do anywhere from a single engine piston all the way to a multi-engine turbo and or jet.
Okay, well that's great. So a wide range of airplanes then. That's good. Now, where is the Medallion Foundation physically located in Anchorage?
So we're located down on 1520 Post Road. It's just a few blocks from Merrill Field.
Okay. And can you tell us what does somebody have to do if I wanted to, as a private pilot, use your simulators? What do I need to do?
So all you need to do is first come into us. We'll give you a tour of the whole facility, ask you what you're going for, what rating you're going for, what planes you've flown, and then I try giving you the best sim that I think of that would help you get your training the most out of it.
Okay, and how much would that cost me?
All of our sims are free except for our DCX ProMotion and our helicopter.
Well, can't beat free.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's great to have equipment, but you got to use the equipment, right? So what what type of training do pilots most often undertake when they're using your simulators?
So most of our pilots come in and they either start on their private and go all the way up to their commercial on our sims. There are certain times that you can log in each sim with a CFI, but most of them just come in to do just get used to the airplane if they haven't flown it before, figure out the GPS. We have 430s and 530s on our equipment. So it's just a very variety of range.
Okay. And what do you find is the most useful type of training that they can do in there? In other words,
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors. These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.